Support that happens that you're giving to people like me and other members of Congress who are fighting as hard as we can. And I'll come back to that in a moment. Thirdly, I want to thank you for Pam Queen and Greg Zucker, who are among this terrific delegation you have representing you in Annapolis. So let's give them another. Count on the relationships with state and local lawmakers to make sure that my office is being as effective as I possibly can be. And I learn a lot from staying connected to their efforts in the General Assembly or in the County Council, wherever they might be. In this case, with Ike Leggett, your county executive. Because we all have to work as a team, at least if we've got the same goals and core principles. That's more important now than it's ever been. And I'm trying to work with the team of Democrats in Congress now to make sure that we are sort of fully meeting the expectations of our framers, that there would be checks and balances under our Constitution. And I'm not going to speak too long because I really want to throw it back at you for questions because we don't have a ton of time. So I want to maximize the opportunity you have to ask me questions. But there were a few things that I wanted to say. I've been there now 10 years in the U.S. Congress. There's never been a time like this before in my experience, in my direct experience. And potentially you talk to other members of Congress who've been there a lot longer and they haven't seen anything like this in terms of the person who resides in the White House and the complete lack of understanding that that individual has as to what the office of presidency means. He does not recognize that this is an office that's held in the public trust. Increasingly, it appears that he views it simply as an opportunity to advance his brand and his business and aggrandize more power to himself and his family, in direct contradiction, I might add, of the promise that he made in his inaugural speech, which was that he was going to transfer, this is a quote, transfer power out of Washington and back to the people. And in fact, when you look at what he's doing, he's pulling more power to himself. That's what it's all about for Donald Trump. And that puts the country in a degree of peril. So we are called upon, all of us who care about this country, care about our Constitution, we're called upon now in a very difficult time to stand together and show that our institutions can prevail. Now, I've joked, and some of you have heard me say this, that when Donald Trump got to Washington, he didn't know there were 3 branches of government. He thought there was just an executive branch. And he was signing executive orders and basically having the time of his life. He figured, I'm the executive and I get to order people around. He was sort of showing these things. But very quickly, he discovered the other branches because within 2 weeks, there was a challenge in court to the executive order creating the Refugee Ban. And the courts stood up for that. The courts continue to stand up to that. I mean, these cases are making their way through the court system, but so far we've shown the judiciary, Article 3, judiciary branch, has enough muscle tone to respond to Donald Trump. And then about 5 weeks or 6 weeks into his presidency, he brought his skinny budget to Congress. It was dead on arrival, even with many of the Republicans. But also that first round of the health care bill. We'll talk about that more later, I'm sure. And he discovered that there was an Article 1 legislative branch called the U.S. Congress that he had to contend with. And, he can't go build a wall for $30 billion if Congress doesn't appropriate the money. So my theory, I've been trying to figure this out. I think what happened to him was when he was first elected, somebody thought, well, I ought to give this guy, he's going to be president, I ought to give him a pocket constitution so he can just start studying the thing. And I figure what happened was he was getting out of his limo one day and it fell in a puddle. And the first 8 pages, which are where the Article 1 got stuck together. And he went right to Article 2, which is the executive branch, read that, thought this is terrific, and didn't bother reading any further, which was to the Article 3 judicial branch. the point is that we have institutions that have the capacity to resist Donald Trump. And Indivisible and all of the various groups that have been part of the resistance have shown that the people are ready to push back on this presidency. And I went to the inauguration. Some of us protested by staying away. Others protested by going. I kind of felt that this is our capital, and I wasn't going to cede that territory to Donald Trump, particularly now on the last day of Barack Obama's presidency. And I was there for the last 10 seconds of it, just to see it. But that was a tough day. I have to tell you, it was for many Americans. I came away with a kind of sick feeling in the pit of my stomach and kind of demoralized. But within 24 hours, we had the Women's March in Washington. Uplifting experience, and I think really set the stage for the continuous resistance that we've seen to so many of these wrong-headed policies that have come from the president in just this first 125 days or so. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for letting the Republicans who are prepared to go along with the Trump agenda understand that they're being watched and held accountable. And I want to thank you for lifting up those lawmakers, the Democrats, who've been fighting back against that and really benefit from this idea that we're in a tag team here. We're working on the inside, you're working on the outside, we're helping each other, and we have to kind of keep lifting each other up because we're going to have to pace ourselves. I mean, my hope is that all of this energy we're feeling that's present in this room, it's represented by you and so many others, will find its way to the ballot box next year. That we won't leak 1 ounce of energy out of this. That it will all get there. Because even though other remedies are being talked about for dealing with Donald Trump, and if the evidence leads to those, then we must follow the evidence where it goes. But I kind of want to be Donald Trump the old-fashioned way, at the ballot booth. I want the people to stand up and say, that's what we got to make sure we do. So with that, again, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being engaged. We can't do it unless there's a sense on the part of the people that they have to come back into the political town square, and many because of a sense of disillusionment and cynicism about our government, frankly something that the president tapped into during his campaign, have fled the town square. We need everybody to come back in there so we can benefit from the voices that a pluralistic society offers us. And in that way find our way to good, solid, sound public policy. And hopefully a more respectful discourse in our politics, which of course is sorely missing these days for the most part. So you can be part of that effort, and I'm going to stand alongside of you with a heavy dose of humility. Out of respect for what the people are saying and doing out there. So thank you very much for all that you've done. Why don't I throw it open? And is there a moderator? Should I just pick people? I'll just pick.
Hello, moderator. I'm going to start.
Great, excellent.
So I saw your hand go up first, sir, so I'll let you go first. Yeah.
Congressman J.D. Grassley has a bill that I think is called the Presidential Disability.
Yes, Article 25.
A mentally unstable president. I wonder, would we be any better off with President Pence? The world got off to the island scratch.
Yeah. We have one of those. So the question is sort of, the relative maybe threat that's posed by Trump versus Pence. It's actually a very interesting question because I would have said to you maybe before the last couple of weeks that I'm not sure I would trade in Trump for Pence because I think Pence is quite ideological, and I think that he sort of cleans up better than Trump, but when he kind of works in concert with the Republicans in Congress, there's a lot that they could do that's very damaging to the country. And I think that they're not just going for the Obama legacy, they're going for the Great Society and the New Deal if they can get their hands on it. However, so much instability is coming and being sort of incited by the president, just when you look at the last 2 weeks, that the damage it does just to the psyche of the country, I think. The ability for people to get up in the morning and get through their day is really being undermined by the way the president behaved. It's a closer call for me now, frankly. I just keep looking forward to trying to get the gavel either in the House or the Senate, which means that the Democrats have to regain one of those two chambers in 2018. If we had the gavel that comes with robust oversight, or we had the oversight that comes with the gavel, then we could really press on the administration. We could investigate what's happening in these agencies, where, to tell you the truth, I think they're locking the doors and pulling down the shades and sort of ransacking places like, the EPA and HHS and our Treasury and so forth. If we could get the gavel, we'd be in a position to really kind of hem them in a little bit. So that's where we need to direct our energy. Now, if the evidence and the conduct and the behavior leads to other remedies that need to come first, well, then you follow the evidence and the facts there. But we have to be careful, I think, about overreaching for those kinds of solutions as opposed to the political solution that we have available to us under our Constitution, which is to go to the polls and express our sentiment that way. So we'll see how it goes.
I have a question.